Hello.
Countyfairgrounds in Cool K here. Do I have the one David Merlin on the line with me?
That would be me.
Hi, David. How are you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing great.
You're a paranormalist. What that means?
I'm basically an illusionist that does a paranormal themed show.
Well, you know, I talk to a lot of entertainers, and I always ask how you got into this and how you got started. Have you ever done anything else?
I've worked the normal jobs way back in the day, but for the past 30 years, I've been into magic and illusion and building and designing props for, different magicians and illusionists around the world.
So how did you ever? I mean, most people don't get into this stuff. How did you get into it?
It was just kind of by accident. I was actually a musician growing up, so I was into music. I played drums and guitar and, worked the normal jobs anybody would. I was in the National Guard. I had a couple of years of college, and then I was working on a job, and one of my friends he was a magician, and he invited me to start going to the local magic club in Birmingham, Alabama. So I started doing that and got really into it, and then it just kind of evolved into stage illusions and to do shows at comedy clubs and things like that. And before you know it, I went into magic professionally, full time, and moved from Alabama to San Diego, California, to work with the world's top fire artist. So I worked with him a couple of years out there.
Okay. Are you a married man?
No, hopefully again one day, but I've been single I've been single for many years, and I was also a cruise ship performer, so I did that for many years all over the world.
Do you remember what your first performances were like and where they were?
Of course, when I first got into it, you start with the real simple shows like birthday parties and small little office parties and things like that. But with me, it evolved pretty quickly. Within a couple of years, I would say within 3 years, I was already performing in comedy clubs. So the comedy clubs were, especially the one in Birmingham, we have like one of the biggest in the country. And so that was kind of a milestone for me to jump to there. And but of course, when I moved out to San Diego, we had all kind of opportunities, and we did the David Letterman show a couple of times, and Comic Relief in Hollywood. So I was exposed to working with a lot of celebrities, only just a few years after getting into magic.
Oh, so did you have any bad experiences? Do you remember some of those early things?
Not really. Everything's always been pretty good. I've never really had anything go wrong during the shows. For me, it was pretty much all good experiences.
Okay, well, that sounds good. So, I always ask too. There's a lot of places you have performed. Are there places you would like to perform that you have not had the opportunity to do so?
Of course, I got to do the David Letterman show a couple times. I did America's Got Talent. I did Germany's Got Talent, Comedy Central, and I helped producers at Universal pitch the Harry Potter theme park attraction. Now, that was way back in 2000 when I think the third Harry Potter book was about to come out, and I had never even heard of it when they asked me to help them come up with a concept to pitch. So I had to build this presentation around this producer. I had like 3 weeks, so I was working 16 hours a day, pretty much 7 days a week, to get this presentation to do at Universal Studios Hollywood. And many years went by. I didn't think anything was going to come of it. And then, I forgot how many, 15 years ago, however long it was, and then here comes the wizarding world of Harry Potter. So, it finally happened. But so that was pretty amazing. As far as places that I would like to perform, I don't know. I'm still pretty much open to any kind of television shows. I've done a lot of television shows around the world, but right now I'm going to be doing shows for. I'm actually doing something the weekend of Halloween at Mohegan Sun Casino in Connecticut. I'm going to be doing the Ed and Lorraine Warren Phantasmacon, and of course, if you heard the name Ed and Lorraine Warren, they were the #1 paranormal investigators in the world. And all the movies like The Conjuring and Annabelle, all that was based upon their case files. And I'm friends with the Warrens, or Judy Warren, the daughter of Lorraine, and her husband Tony. So I'm going to be doing that big, it's like a big Paracon. So I'm going to be up there, I think it's the 27th and 28th of October. And then people, they had it last year, and I think they had about 6,000 attendees. So we're going to be up there, and people will actually have the opportunity to be next to the real Annabelle doll behind glass.
Ooh, sounds scary.
Yeah.
Not all magicians, and I have interviewed a lot of magicians. Not all magicians become paranormalists. How did you manage to do that?
I mean, I've always been interested in the paranormal and ghosts, haunted houses, UFOs, you name it, anything unusual. I've always had an interest in. And of course, when I became friends with the Warrens, and then the radio talk show host Art Bell from Nevada, I really gained an interest in it. And just one day out of the blue, I thought, I'm going to change this normal magic and illusion show into more of a spookier, paranormal light show, and where it would involve like mentalism and telekinesis of moving objects and ghosts. So that's what I've done, and I'm probably one of the few that does anything like this. And it's going over really, really well, especially with all the paranormal shows that you see on television right now. I actually did the big paranormal convention out in Las Vegas last year at the MGM Grand. So. Okay.
All right. So you've performed in Las Vegas then, right?
Yeah, I actually lived in Las Vegas for, I guess, a couple of years. And I'm from Alabama. So right now I'm calling you I'm in Alabama. But I've lived in San Diego and Las Vegas, and used to do a lot of corporate work out there. And, of course, got into the cruise ship industry, performing all over the world. And I still do a lot of theater shows, and I think you're associated with all the fairs. I actually did a fair, but it's been a number of years back. I think it was out in Arizona, Parker, Arizona. It's been, gosh, probably, I don't know, 17, 18 years.
I cover a lot of fairs. There's a lot of fairs across the country, but I also cover a lot more than just county and state fairs. There's all kinds of festivals on our sites, and we're actually pretty big into Halloween too. And I've never interviewed a paranormalist before. I have to admit that you're the first one that I have ever interviewed. So when you go out to do a stage show, that's what you're doing now, is that kind of stuff?
Well, right now, I mean, I'm still performing, but not as much at the moment, because I have actually started transitioning into the world of movies. And my manager is Stacy Johnson, and Stacy Johnson is the niece of Dick Van Dyke, and she's been doing she's been an actress since 4 years old on Sesame Street. So she was an actress, singer, dancer, and so for over 4 decades, she's probably been involved with, I think it's like 250 films or television shows in front of and behind the camera, and producing and directing. And we're currently working on a sci-fi horror film called The Alien List.
Okay.
And we're working on it at one of her homes there in North Carolina, and we've got some pretty big names that's going to be announced here pretty soon. A couple of them that are kind of big in the horror realm. We're not really allowed to say who it is yet, but
okay.
It's two female actresses that have been in two iconic films that they've starred in. So we're really excited about that, and we're hoping to start filming soon as this actor strike is over.
Yeah, well, we're waiting.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we've got the script ready, and we're going to start advertising it, here pretty soon. And of course, I'm still going to be performing, while this stuff's going on. And I may be going on tour with Mickey Thomas of the band Starship in February. So we're talking to Mickey. It was actually my manager, Stacy. She's actually toured with Mickey as his background vocalist. So she does so many different things. She's like me. She likes to kind of get out there and do a lot of different things for fun. And,
okay, so you basically don't do your own bookings, and you're telling me you've got somebody that does bookings for you?
She books for me, and then of course they can come to me directly. My website's david-merlin.com. And
so, David, are you playing a magician in this movie?
In the movie, as a matter of fact, I am going to be playing. I'm going to be playing myself in this movie.
Oh, that's cool.
That's about all I can say, but but I'm actually the lead writer, and one of the lead roles. I would say there's going to be probably 6 lead people in the movie, and I'm one of those 6. And we're going to have probably 5 or 6 names that people will know. There's 3 of them they're going to know for sure once they get signed on. But
okay.
Like I said, we can't release the info yet until these people have signed their NDAs.
Yeah. So when will this movie be released? Not this year, I would presume.
No, not in 2023. We're hoping sometime in 2024. With
okay.
Stacey, she also works with HBO. So just depending on what happens with this strike and stuff, I mean, it's a possibility that this thing could even go to movie theaters. If not, it might go directly to streaming. We're just not sure yet. But we're planning on putting it in some film festivals, and if it is ready in time, we're hoping to get it into Sundance Film Festival.
Sounds like you're really excited about this and really enthused.
Yeah, it's like I went from music to magic to movies. So it's unusual career. So I've been pretty blessed to be able to do a lot of different things that I enjoy. And for Stacy, if people are fans of horror, I don't know how many people listening saw the new Stephen King It movies, Chapter 1 and Chapter 2. But it's based on the clown Pennywise. Bill Skarsgård was the actor that played the Pennywise clown. In the original, it was Tim Curry. But Stacy was actually also the Pennywise clown in a couple of iconic scenes, and one of them was probably the one that people remember most, of the clown down in the manhole at the beginning of It Chapter 1. And a lot of people thought it was Bill Skarsgård, but it's Stacy. But if you look real close, you can see it's like a feminine features of the clown. So if you go back and watch the movie, look at that scene and look at different views of Bill Skarsgård as the clown, and you'll see that there's a difference. And I always ask her, well, why didn't they give you the credit? And she goes, they paid me more money.
That's what's important, isn't it?
Yeah, she's been in so many things that she wasn't so worried about it. She's worked behind the scenes, even all the newer Halloween movies, some of the Scream movies. There was one with Gerald Butler that came out a couple of years ago called Greenland, kind of a sci-fi. She worked on the television show Ozark and Heroes. She's just done so many different things.
Hey, David,
Yes.
I have to ask you this question. Do you
Sure.
believe in ghosts?
Well, when I was younger, I had one encounter that I still can't explain where I was in had lie down in the bed, uh, still awake, just kind of thinking about things. The lights were out, and all of a sudden the bed started. I thought somebody, like my dad, had came in. I thought and had sat down on the bed because he was notorious for doing that back in the day. Because he worked for the power company, and sometimes he'd work late, come in. He'd always come in the room. It doesn't matter if I'm awake or asleep. If I'm asleep, he's going to wake me up. Just kind of ask me about the day or whatever. That's just the way he was. So one night, I had just laid down and just kind of turned sideways, and then I felt the bed push in like it normally does when he would sit there. And because normally he would, call my name and say, "Hey, are you asleep?" But this particular time, I felt it sink down, and I turned over, and I'm thinking, why didn't he ask if I'm awake? And then all of a sudden, I could kind of see through. There was enough light, I guess, coming in from like the street light or whatever that it wasn't completely pitch dark, but almost. And I could feel the bed push down, and I could feel like somebody up against my thigh. And of course, I was just like terrified at that moment. And I was probably 17, 18 years old. And then I just kind of froze and closed my eyes, and then all of a sudden the bed started like lifting back up, like somebody was getting back off the bed. And I used to have these, like, back then it was like some kind of box spring that was really loud. I mean, you could really hear it when somebody sat on that thing or got back up.
Mm-hmm.
So that was my one experience with anything ghostly. But I had many friends that have had all kind of experiences. I've become friends with a lot of people from around the world that are really into this stuff.
So, have you performed overseas? I would imagine so.
Oh yeah. I performed, gosh, all over Asia, South America, Mexico. Of course, I did Germany's Got Talent, not that long ago.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh, I'm trying to think. Yeah, of course, on the cruise ships, I was all over the world. I mean, I've been to places like Bora Bora, Tahiti, of course, all around the States, up in Alaska, pretty much everywhere. But back then I was just doing more of a mainstream kind of illusion show, more like David Copperfield. I do things like cut myself back in those days I would cut girls in half or, in pieces or whatever. But in my new show, a lot of the stuff happens to me, like I'm cut in half, or I levitate, or I levitate somebody from the audience. I read the people's minds from the audience, just random people. And you always have the people that think, well, they got to be, plants or set up. But what I do is I throw an object out into the audience and have them throw it around, and on the third catch of like a little ball or something, that's who I'll ask the questions to. So it's just random people. And once you see it, it's really hard to believe because your mind just can't comprehend that someone's able just to cold read you like that. And then of course my new segment, I do like a seance, like live on stage, and even like manifest a ghost right in front of everybody, and that's been pretty frightening for people.
Well, yeah. Okay, so you've told me that there's really not any place that you would really like to perform that you have not had the opportunity to, but so you're going to keep doing this, right?
Oh yeah, I love it. Yeah, I love it. And even if the movie career kind of starts taking off, which Stacy's already told me after this first script, she likes it so much. Like she was really shocked that I've never written a movie script and never acted in a movie. But when I did auditions for her months and months ago, she was just like stunned. Like she couldn't understand how I was able to go into these different characters. And to tell you the truth, I don't know how to do it. It's just something I've always been able to do. I've been able to do voices, different characters for stage. And of course, being an illusionist, you're basically a stage actor. So, but of course, the movies, it is different. Some people can't make that transition. Some people, they're either on-screen actors or they're performers in plays, and they can't cross over. It just doesn't work. But fortunately, this has all just kind of come easy for me. And then the script writing, never written a script, but I have written my routines and what I say on stage. So it's just like I know what to say, and I'm a big movie buff, so it just came natural for me. So she's already ready for me to start working on the next one. And so the next one's going to actually be more just ghost horror. But this one is alien horror. So.
Hey, David. Maybe you're possessed and you just don't know it.
I hope not. I'm of Christian faith, but I still there's things out there I can't explain. Like I've seen a UFO in '97. Still don't know what that was.
Like I said, maybe you're possessed and you just don't know it.
Yeah, I hope not.
Okay, so I take it you never had any kids, right?
No, I've got a niece. She's autistic, and she's actually having a birthday tomorrow. That's why I'm back in Alabama visiting her, where I could be with her for her birthday.
Oh, that's nice.
She's pretty much like a daughter to me. I've taken her all over the country and took her and my mom for many years. My mom had just passed away back in April. She was 89, so she's got to go a lot of places, and that's probably one of the reasons I didn't have kids, because I was so busy, spending time with my niece and just, showing her a good life, that it was kind of, and all the traveling that I did, it's just kind of hard to settle down, But I'm still optimistic that, hopefully one day I can do that.
So what does she think of your magic? I have to ask you that.
My niece?
Yep.
Oh, yeah, she loves it. Yeah, she loves it. And she's actually going to have a little part in the movie.
Oh, that's cool.
And she's going to play the lead actress's niece, and she's going to play an autistic niece, so she's basically playing herself. So that's
cool.
That's what for it. Yeah.
That's cool.
She's very excited about that.
So there's nothing that you've done in your career that has made you regret the direction that you've gone in?
Not really. I mean, of course, my goal when I was younger is, I wanted to be a rock star.
Yeah.
And so I played guitar and drums, but I was mainly a drummer back in those days. And I mean, when I was 17 years old, I was even playing in nightclubs.
Oh.
So I was used to being on stage, at a young age. And I guess that's why it was just so easy, for me. But yeah, I wanted to be a rock star, but then I quickly found out that there's so many talented musicians that it's just a hard industry to get into. So when I got into magic, and that also came natural to me, I thought, well, there's not as near the competition in magic that there is in music. So I kept drifting more and more toward the magic, and then, before I knew it, just after being in a few years, I'm already on the David Letterman show, or I'm out in Hollywood working with, Dan Aykroyd or John Goodman, different people. So it was kind of surreal coming out of a small town. I'm from a town called Sylacauga, Alabama, and it's the home of Jim Neighbors, and it's a population maybe 13,000. And we're known for a couple of things, like the world's whitest marble and the only town a person's been struck by a meteorite.
Oh, okay.
So I came out of this and, right into kind of the Hollywood lifestyle. So that was kind of shocking. You see all these people on television, and then all of a sudden you're sitting there in a green room with them. So that, there was a little small period of time I was starstruck by all that. I just couldn't believe it. And then, slowly you get used to it, and you're like, they're just like me.
Yeah, I've interviewed a lot of famous musicians, and they tell interesting stories too. So, okay. All right. Well, it was nice talking to you. I hope everybody enjoys the interview. I hope you enjoyed what we talked about, and we'll get it up. And so, again, do you want to leave how people can contact you if they want to?
Yeah, definitely. For any type of event, just go to my website, and that's David, and it's Merlin, MERLIN.com, and there's my email, and there's a phone number there on the webpage. And then also be on the lookout next year for a movie called The Alien List.
Who knows? They might be here before that, the aliens.
Hey, I've been watching television. You never know.
Yep, you never know. Okay, David, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.